everyone. I hope you guys are doing amazing and you guys are also binge watching your favorite Netflix show and you're enjoying yourselves. Here, I am again here, the Netflix addicted girl. I can't just stop myself to talk about Netflix because I love Netflix so much that I can't even explain. Now, today's episode is out of the world. It's something that I can't even explain in words, but I will try to, because today I will be talking about the shows, the movies that have taken me back centuries. Like, these are the shows that can take you back centuries. Like, you are living here in 21st century, but no, they will make you live in the 18th century. They will make you live in the 17th century, because they are so amazingly composed. They are so cool that I cannot imagine. Like, I want to leave this era and move to the 17th and 18th century because the shows are amazing. The chemistry, the bonding of people, the scenery, the clothing, the balls and everything. That's so amazing. Just imagine. Our parties, now today's parties, are so, like, they're torturous to me. There is so much music, there is so much loud music, there is so much crowd, and everybody just seems to be drunk and doing nothing else. But when you go back to the 17th century, there are people dancing together. There are matchmakers, and that they're making matches. Your life is getting set in that particular party, and you are enjoying yourself, and you are just being pretty. Oh my god. I can't imagine anything better than that. That you're eating, you're enjoying, and also you are meeting new people. You're meeting new guys and girls, and that's amazing, because that's the best thing that you can do to make up your month. Like, whoa, a stressful week, boom, you have a ball and you're getting all dolled up. You're going, you are just preparing for it, and all the dresses are beautiful flared dresses, and you're dancing around, you're making friends, you're making connections, you are meeting new people, you are interacting, you are just sharing your ideas, your thoughts, and you're sharing gossips, because that's the best part. At parties, instead of getting drunk and just sleeping or throwing up, you talk about different things. You gossip. You get to know what's happening in your locality, what's happening with that famous family, what their famous son is doing, what their oh so charming girl what the oh so charming girl is doing. Like, this is so, I can't even imagine the amount of fun they would be having on those balls. I just want to join a ball as well. Why don't we have a ball in 21st century? Why is that an outdated thing? Why balls are being replaced by dance parties or pool parties? Why? I don't get it. I really want to bring that particular time back here because it was so interesting. If you have watched one or two movies that represents the 17th or the 18th century, then you would definitely know what I am talking about, because that time was the time you enjoyed being a girl or a prince charming, obviously, and all those horses, obviously. I just love all those horses and how the carriages are made and how they carry you to the ball, how you enter walking like a princess, and how you manage your dress. You walk with so much elegance. I cannot even imagine what sort of fun they had, and like, whoa, I want that. I want horses back. I don't want cars. I don't want bicycles or everything. I want those horses. And those horses had literally that thrill in them. Then you're riding, you're controlling the horse while you're looking pretty as hell. And then you stop that horse in front of a big palace. And then you are welcomed by somebody, a Prince Charming, obviously, who lends you a hand, and you just put your hand in theirs, and then just step down the horse. Then you enter the ball. It's all so pretty. There are crystals, and there's food, there's fine wine, and then you have people. You're interacting with the king and the queen and the princes and princesses. Like, whoa, that was a complete package of how you could enjoy your night and just keep all the frustrations and the blues out of your mind, at least for those particular hours. I wish I was Cinderella, so I had a ball to go, and then I found my Prince Charming. I wish, I really wish. Now, this is the point of why I watch the 17th or 18th century movies or seasons, you can say, because I fascinate them a lot. I want to live that life. I want to live that simple, peaceful life with communication that will take hours and hours, and I will just relax instead of ignoring text messages and video calls. Oh my god, that's the worst part of for mobile phones, that you have to just ignore. But while you're doing other tasks, you have to wait for the call to just drop itself so that you can continue your scrolling, you can continue your movie or season. 20th century, yeah, 20th century was the time when mobile phone was invented. So I want to go back to 17th century. Please, where do I sign up for that? I totally recommend you watching seasons or movies that include those centuries, because going back to those centuries is worth your time and worth the energy of the time travel that you have to go through. The time travel might be sickening, but that era is worth it. I just want to go. I just really want to go. Okay, enough of these talks. Now I will be talking about these shows that can bring you that can bring you joy, and that can take you back to the 17th and 18th century. Like, whoa, these shows are so amazingly made. Their composition, their story, their costumes, everything is great, and everything is very well put. That's why these shows are famous. These shows are pretty famous, and I am sure you might have heard of it. But now there are many people who are not very much interested in the past, in the history, in the old centuries, so they do not know about these. But if you're somebody who do not know about this, this is your time to change your life. Literally, these seasons will change your life. These seasons will change the outlook of yours on life, because we have so much to learn from them. We have so much to learn from the past people that worked hard for our luxuries today, that worked hard to create this light, that worked hard to create this mobile phone, or the all the platforms that we watch these seasons on. So this is something that they worked hard for, and we are getting all the luxuries. So now, if you want to go back to the centuries with me, I'll waste no time. I will get started right away. But note that these are not all the shows. These are all the shows that I have watched and that I have loved. Obviously, you can have your own suggestions. You can ask a few more friends who might be interested in these centuries, and then you can ask for recommendations. But my top pick are these particular seasons and movies that I will be recommending, and obviously I will be reviewing all of them for you one by one, because I love to talk about how I love things and how they impress me, how they impact me. This is my favorite thing to do, and I would love to do it for you guys as well. I will tell you about my favorite season and movies, how many seasons are there, how much you can expect from it, and what sort of story, what sort of character building you will be expecting from them. So let's get started without wasting any further time. But before that, I would like you to open up your mind regarding what I will be telling you about. Please don't go like, no, this does not seem interesting, this seems boring. Why? Because I might not tell you the exact situations. Obviously, the seasons are long. I cannot tell you all the details. I can only talk to you about the reviews, the crux of that particular season or movie. So you need to consider watching them yourselves, because that way you will learn more about it. Also, if you cannot risk just starting the season on my recommendation, at least go to the teasers and the trailers of these particular seasons and movies, and then you'll see what I'm talking about, what sort of catching the motion is, what sort of catching all the characters and the build up is. You will come to know about what I'm saying if you watch the trailers or the teasers of these seasons and movies. Let's get started. Una mattina, who alzato, oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Una mattina, who alzato, inimna windabor. You got it right, because it was the most famous song in 2020 when an Italian musician played this on the balcony because Italy was in a great distress. Yeah, you remember, right? I know, because this season reached to me after this song, after this incident, when I read in the news that people in Italy are just standing in their balconies and they are singing to each other, and this person was singing Bella Ciao because it said goodbye beautiful. And this was because there was so many corona cases and so many people were dying of corona in 2020. That is why he sang that song and it got viral. And when I heard about this song, I was like, oh, Bella Ciao? And why is he singing that? I searched the history of the song and it was pretty impressive. Although there are many concepts about some farmers sang it, some say that was a war song or something, but it came to us in its perfect form. And this got famous because this was used in Money Heist. So right now I am talking about Money Heist. This is a perfect season for you to watch if you have a very critical mind, if you want to just add in information and you want to know how banks are robbed, how plannings are done, how things work, and how group work works. This is the perfect example of a season that shows the awesome teamwork that the whole team is doing. So coming back to the Bella Ciao was used in Money Heist as a symbolic, as they were singing it and it was their sort of song. It had some connection with the main character, that is Professor. Professor has a very deep connection with this song because his father used to sing it. So this thing was associated, the song was associated with Money Heist. So I thought, why should not we watch it? Like, it has a perfect song. And trust me, I have something for songs. If I like these songs, or if I like these songs of a video of some movie or season, I definitely watch that thing, because I believe that music is the soul of everything. Music makes everything wonderful. Music supports the seasons, music supports the films. So I love it. I loved this show. I loved the music. I loved the way they used that Bella Ciao song in their parts, that actually synchronized so well that they were just when you are in a robbery, obviously you won't know until or unless you have done a robbery yourself. But we like to watch shows like that. You can call it criminal shows, you can call it detective shows or anything else, any name you can give for these kind of shows, but I call it drama. And drama is amazing. And when you are into a robbery, you never know when the attackers come, when the police come, when you yourself gets mingled up on all these thoughts and you just get a heart attack and you die, or when you receive a bullet. So it's all, everything is uncertain, and every minute of yours is like a goodbye. You can be laughing with your friend right now and he will be dead the next minute with a bullet in his chest. So this is something that had an impact on me. Like, they were hopeful, but they were saying their goodbyes. This is such a heartbreaking scene in that particular season, Money Heist, that it has my heart. They won all the money, they had all the money, they were about to just leave the chamber, and they are singing Bella Ciao. And when they are planning for another heist, they are singing Bella Ciao, because they know that they are planning for another heist. That means another episode of murder, another episode of surrendering, another episode of receiving bullets in their chests. Though I know that this is not something to be encouraged, like, you are a thief and thieves should not be encouraged, but Money Heist shows you the other way around. It shows you another picture, because every picture has two sides of the story. And now this said, Money Heist explains a bigger picture of heist. It explains the story behind the masterminds. It explains the story behind that particular heist. The heist is not just a heist. They don't just need money for the sake of having it. They have a bigger plan. They have bigger ambitions behind that robbery, and they move so strategically that I can't even tell you. Like, their strategy is so cool, and they are so well connected to each other without having any type of connection that can get them tracked. Like, imagine, like, you are using technology, you're using force, you're using weapons, and you are using your brain. You are making a master plan. Your heist is going very popular, and all the police is just behind you, and you're carrying out your robbery. That's a great thing, because I tell you that this show is something out of the world. Trust me, Money Heist is a big yes for everybody. Though it includes a little bit violence, or obviously shooting and receiving guns in your chest, and a scene of surgery as well, also blood and some violence, other violence as well. But it's mild. It's not as intense as is for many other shows of the similar genre. So this is mild, and you should definitely give it a try, not just because it is a good pastime, but also because it will open up your mind. You will think critically, just like Professor, the main character, the mastermind planner, was thinking. Now, if you think from his perspective, your mind opens up. Your mind opens up and you think, okay, I never thought about this. Okay, I never thought it like that. It can be done that this way. It can be done that way. So there are so many ways that this particular show will open up your mind. This has such great strategies, such great moves, and such great lessons, especially when you're working in team. It also revolves around the problems that the team members face while working together on such a huge project, when the lives of everyone is dependent on one another. If the mistake of one can lead to the death of all the others. So this is a great show if you want to learn more about how things work, what are the thoughts behind criminal-minded people, what are the thoughts behind criminal activities, and everything else. Now, this was a short introduction of Money Heist. It has 5 seasons and Season 6 is on its way and it's due in September 2021. I am really excited because that would be the final season of Money Heist. No more seasons. It would be an end to all the characters, and this will obviously tell us what happens at the end to the old members of the heist and also to the mastermind, that is Professor. Now, when I have just told you about all of this, my rating for this show is 9.5 by 10. Now, 9.5 because there are some mistakes that are very obvious in Money Heist. There are some things very logical that if you watch it very keenly, you will come to know that, okay, this is where they are lacking somewhere. This was something that they should not do. This does not make sense. This is not possible. So there are so many different ways in which you can see where they are lacking. So that's why I will give it a 9.5. Obviously, we cannot expect every show to be perfect. Not everything is perfect, and I believe that nothing is perfect. There are always some laggings. There are always some lack of direction, lack of the camera act, editing, or anything. But still, it is a 9.5 for me. Now we'll move on to the characters and a little plot of Money Heist. Now we have a team of members, and that teams varies from season to season because obviously some people are getting subtracted, some are getting killed, and some are getting added in the group. So obviously there are always 11, 7, 10, 12, these number of people, but some characters remain same, such as Tokyo, such as Berlin, such as the Professor himself. Now Professor is the mastermind of the heist. It starts off when Tokyo is in the bed and she is recalling all that happened, and she tells us how she was hiding from the police and Spanish police, because this is a Spanish drama. This is a Spanish series and it is in Spanish, but all thanks to Netflix, it has been translated into English as well. If you want to watch it in English, just go to that tab and select the audio English language. And also, all thanks to Netflix, that there are English subtitles. Now these help us to just understand what is happening and everything, and makes it interesting for us. Okay, now back to the story. Tokyo was narrating the story, and she tells us how she escaped the police when her mother called her and said that I miss you and just meet me, and then her mother was forced to do it by the Spanish police. The Spanish police was there and they forced the mother to call Tokyo so that they could capture Tokyo when she comes around to meet her mother. But as she was going to meet her mother, on the way, Professor rescued her. Professor showed her all the pictures that this is your mom talking on the call with you, and this is all the police surrounding your house. If you go there, they will shoot you down and you will be imprisoned or killed. So do not go. This was the start of how Professor is collecting his team. Professor is very intelligent and he is targeting the people who have been into these sorts of things, who have been already recognized by the police as thieves, as bank robbery, and people like that. So he's collecting those masterminds who are hiding very well and who are not getting captured. That obviously means that these characters, these people are very intelligent. So hence proved, Professor wants a team that is strong, that is good minded, and that can also keep up with the heist and all the pressure and everything, because they will have a previous experience of such things. So this was the start of season 1, and then we see a big house, a very beautiful house, a classic one, in which there are all the team members and they are being taught by Professor. And then there are some exercises for them. They are taught the plan. They talk about the plan that they are going to rob the Bank of Spain and everything that goes within. Now, this is a mastermind series, and they show how well they are treating the hosts and how well they are treating the members that they have captured inside the bank, and they're using them as a bait to protect themselves, and meanwhile they will rob it, they will transfer the monies, and they will build a tunnel that goes to the other part of the street to professor's house, and in there they will store all the money and they will just leave the bank empty, and then the police can obviously come inside and rescue all the people that are caught inside. Now, everything that goes within this, all of this is very important and this is very interesting how they have managed everything, the foods, the medicines, because that they are taking care of all the members, or all the employees, all the staff of that particular group that was present inside during that heist. Okay, so this is something that makes us mind bobble, like, whoa, we never thought that could be a way to rob a bank. We never thought this could be also a way. So this is how. And meanwhile, in season 2, the inspector in charge of the heist, she was very good, and she was very vigilant about her job. She was a senior inspector, but she had a weak point, and that weak point was men, because her husband left her, so she was always in search for a family, and professor cashed that particular weak point, and she fell in love with professor, and obviously professor did as well, but he was more concentrated on the heist because many lives were dependent on his decisions. So he was very focused on the heist, and he was completely focused while being in love with inspector. So this was season 2, and how the inspector helped professor in escaping and just leaving them behind. And then we see in other seasons that how all the members are getting reunited because one of them needs help, because one of them is the youngest one and he gets himself into trouble, and then from all over the world all the members gather again for another heist, and that was a revengeful heist, that okay, they have tortured our member, we will show them who we are. So this was basically a revenge. The first heist had a very big plan and it had a real meaning, but the second one was a revengeful activity. It was a revengeful robbery, and it was executed very, very creatively, very differently. The methods they used were different from the first one, and there was a lot of more work. But then again, we lose Nairobi. If you have heard this, you might have seen memes or you have seen posts that Nairobi died. And literally, I cried at that point because Nairobi's weakness was her child. That was taken away from her because she was found drug addict, and the child was taken from her, and then she never saw her child again. But she knew that where he lived, and he was happy, he was growing up, he was adopted, he was loved. But Nairobi always wanted children. She wanted a child of her own, and she planned to have one after the second heist. But unfortunately, she was blackmailed by the police, and they used her son as a bait and then shot her in the heart. All the members tried to save her. There was a mini surgery, but all in vain. She could not be saved and she died. This was a very sad moment for all of the members, and then they just finished the heist, but they were in pain because they lost a very, very, very special person of their member. So this is the main plot, and there are all the techniques that they use. The story goes within. There are mini stories, side stories that I cannot explain right now because it would take a lot of time. But this was just the plot, and I hope you liked the plot and little things that you will get out of this story plot, and you will love it. I am sure you're gonna love it. So Money Heist is a big yes, and season 6 is coming soon as well, and I hope season 6 would not disappoint us, because what I see is that when there are some seasons and we are really liking them, the final season is way too low our expectations. I don't know why is that so. That may be possible because we expect so much high from the director, from the writer, that we almost forget that reaching that level again is not possible. Because first there was so much to do, so much to shoot. There were character building, there was story building, but once you are reaching the conclusion, that's a very different thing. When you reach the conclusion, you have to sum up all the things, and summing up all the thing means you have to pick and choose. You have to pick and choose the important stuff, and you have to leave behind the unimportant stuff. So I hope the season 6 does not disappoint us. Another very amazing show is The Alienist. It has 2 seasons, but it is not very overrated, it is not very top rated, and I have no idea why. Because it deserves all the appreciation of the world. This season is a masterpiece. I tell you, it is a masterpiece. It involves psychology. It involves psychology behind criminals and how the criminals are made. This season particularly highlights this issue, that in childhood or in teenage or preteen age, there are some incidents that alter the mentality of the mind of a child, and that alteration of the mind results into disaster when they become an adult. And this is the truth. The major criminals in our society, the people who do harm to themselves and to the others, and they're a big threat to the society, are the ones who are oppressed during their childhood. When they are oppressed, they see violence around themselves, they absorb it. A child is like a sponge, it can absorb anything that you give it. And then obviously when it is twisted, when it grows, it gives out all that violence and all the stuff that you have given to him when he or she was a child. This season is something out of the world. It brilliantly explains the psychology of the police, the psychology of the criminals, the psychology of the people who made these criminals, their parents, their family, or their guardians, or the ones who brought them up. This revolves around psychology. It is a criminal season, and it talks about violence, it talks about the bads of the society, but it excellently depicts everything that goes within. The dialogues are powerful, very powerful. There was this dialogue in this season that all of us have the ability to become a monster when allowed. Whoa. This blew my mind, that we all have the capabilities, we all are capable of becoming a monster when we are allowed, when we just let go ourselves, when we just let go of our consciousness. That is the time we become a monster. Now, what is a monster in human form? It is a criminal who does not think of anything. He does not think of the consequences. He just wants to harm, and harming satisfies his own self, the criminal thinking that goes within. It is a satisfactory treat to that person. Now, this is very important that we consider this fact from this logic, and then see this season, and we will have a very open mind about everything that goes around us. We will be like, okay, this person is doing this thing in this way. Might be possible that he is suffering, might be possible that he cannot outgrow from the things that have been done to him as a child, as an adult, as a teenager. We see, okay, he is suffering from some mental illness, he is suffering from mental distress, he is suffering from some mental sort of position that cannot make him sit with peace, and he just wants peace, because every human being wants peace. And there journey of peace revolves around hurting others. If we watch this season with a very open mind, we would come to know many things that our society is doing and that is wrong, and that is going to produce very many criminals in the say next 5 to 6 years. That's it. There's so much happening, especially during the COVID time. There are so much unemployment, and there is such an environment where nobody is caring for the other. They're just thinking about themselves. They're not wearing the mask. Why? Because they don't feel comfortable with it. They're not getting their vaccines because they think that's a fraud, that's this, that's that. They're not taking care of others. They have no concern of what the other person might go through just because of these simple actions, like just not wearing a mask. If they won't wear a mask, obviously the other person will catch the virus. And what if that other person is an old person that won't have that much ability, that much immunity to fight off the COVID? So what are they doing it? Like, they're doing harm to the society. So this season is basically for all of us. This season is basically for us to teach ourselves that we need to be responsible of our actions. How simple actions can lead to big disasters. There were this scene in this season that Dr. Leslo, the main character, had a school, and in that school it was orphanage plus school plus rehab center. Now in that particular sort of institution, there were many students who were going through some distress. There were children, mainly children, and they were going through some mental illnesses that no other doctor could predict, so that their parents just give their child to Dr. Leslo to study their psychology. Basically, the alienist means a psychologist, a person who deals with psychology or mental illnesses. So at that particular time, that was 18th to 17th century, I guess, in that particular season. In that season, we had scenes of 18th to 19th century or 17th. I don't exactly remember, but these are the minor details. What actually matters is that what happens within the season. So now in that century, psychologists were not common. People did not believe in mental illnesses. They just said that he's possessed, he's just acting like it, he's just creating a scene, that's it. Now that's a point that it does not happen that way. Leslo believed that there are some diseases that are out of our mind right now, that we can't think of, that we don't have any solution of. But one day we will have researchers, we will take in more patients, and we will study the behaviors, the psychology, and we will come to know that what is actually happening to that particular person and how that particular thing can be treated. Now there was this scene in which there was a boy who was talented, but he had some issues with his mind. He wanted attention, and he was a big attention seeker, but that created troubles for both himself and others. And his attention seeking behavior was not just a normal girl on her mood swings or something like that, not at all like that. That was something different that they could not understand. And then there's this scene that Leslo is really occupied with a criminal scene, and he just works day and night on that criminal files, so he does not have much time. When that kid walks in the room and shows Leslo his jiggling tricks, Leslo just says, okay, that's great, and does not appreciate him much. The next day, the boy hangs himself. And this way it shows that he was just seeking attention, he wanted attention, and when he was not given such attention, he paved another way to get attention. And that resulted in the ending of that institution. That institution was taken over by the government, because the government said that you are not capable of treating these people, of keeping these children who are very versatile, who are very sensitive. But obviously at the end he solved all the criminal scenes, and he helped Sarah, his colleague, female colleague, to manage the scenes, and he was awarded his institution back. Now, in this particular season, they talk about women empowerment as well. In that century, there was no woman empowerment at all, and Sarah was a very ambitious girl, and she was the only girl in the police department. She was the only girl, but she was there as a secretary. But she wanted to become a detective, and she had that abilities, she had that inborn capabilities of being a detective. And Leslo was a man that was an advantage. He was called for many criminal scenes. That what do you suggest about this situation? What are your thoughts? What can be the thoughts of the criminal who did this? So he saw the talent in Sarah, and he encouraged it. He encouraged it, and he supported her, and she supported him. In the first place, she was the one who supported Leslo, and that helped Leslo solve a big criminal case. And then the season 2 is all about Sarah and how she has set up a huge company where only girls work, and girls are detectives there. So this was the beginning of the women empowerment. Women were coming out of their homes and kitchens, and they were working with men shoulder to shoulder. And this was very great. I really loved how they moved everything, how they showed the women empowerment, and how well the women were working despite all the discrimination in the society. Now, this was the overall view of the Alienist. Let us go a little deeper into the plot. Now, the plot starts with Dr. Leslo. He was investigating a case that just happened, and the case was that children between the age of 10 to 15 were being killed every day, 2 to 3, and they were killed mercilessly, very mercilessly. There was a pattern that all the children were murdered in a certain way and on certain days, just like on saint times, on religious days, something like that. It was connected. Everything was connected in that case. The religion, the things that goes behind religious activities, and everything else. So he, with so much effort of Sarah and Dr. John, he solved the case, and he was very appreciated. But there were so many obstacles in his way because he wasn't in police, and this was the task of the police to solve the criminal case. But who did it? Dr. Leslo. Dr. Leslo was sort of a psychologist, a healer. He was not a police, and police was being mocked that you could not do your job, and a psychologist too did it. So this was a big shame for the police. So he had to face all the rejections, he had to face all the oppositions, he had to face all the threats, but still, despite everything, he did it. He did it. He really showed everybody that yes, I have the abilities of a detector and I can do it, and he really did it. I literally loved the first season, and the second season was great as well, but the first season had my heart. The second season had the same story but a different reason, different scenes, and different level of difficulties. There was this criminal scene, there was this criminal case that newborns are getting lost from their beds on the very first night of their delivery, of their entering into the world. Now, there was this thing that the babies were just getting lost, and then at a certain age, at the age of 6 months, they were found dead, and their eyes were taken out. This was a pattern, and then the story followed, and it came to the end that nurse had baby, but the baby was taken away from her. So she said that I will take away the babies of every other woman, and she used to tend to babies, she used to feed them, but she kept them in a cage so that nobody can take that baby away from her. But she used to cuddle with the baby and everything, but she did not actually care for the baby because at 6 months she would just take their eyes off and kill them because at the age of 6 months her baby was taken away from her, and she used to keep all her babies, the clothes, their eyes, and their puppets. She used to sew puppets of them and keep them in boxes. And she was of the opinion that I keep my babies with me, I keep them safe, and this way they will stay forever with me. And the story revolves around how they solved this very difficult case because there were gangs involved. The person supplying babies to them was his lover, and he was a big gangster. So this is a very difficult thing. That was a very difficult thing to just do all the job with the gangsters, but without the support of the government. The police, the government was against them, and they were saying that no, you might be wrong, you're mistaken, there's a woman working on this case, she's just getting emotional. These are all the turmoils they have to go through as a team of three: Dr. Leslo, Sarah, and John. And then there was a little story, love story going on with first Leslo, then John and Sarah, then Sarah and John. This all was going on and on. There was so many things, there were so many side stories that literally kept me hooked all the time. I literally loved it. I have no idea why The Alienist is underrated. It should have all the encouragement in the world. Another amazing season that talks about the Islamic history, that talks about the Ottomans, the after Ottomans, is the Ertugrul. And trust me, it stayed on the number one for the longest time possible because it is a long season. The season revolves around people of the Turk Kabyle, of the Kabylie that lived in mountains and that were gypsies. They moved from place to place. Now, this season is a masterpiece. Why? Because it has gained immense popularity, especially in 2020 and 2001, all over the world. All people are watching it, all people are enjoying it. The characters are so famous that people are just putting out their merchandise, and people are wearing their t-shirts. People are naming their child after these characters. Trust me, this is super cool because I find it interesting how they have dragged such a long season so beautifully, and that too without any glamour or particular violence.
Adalet, sonsuza kadar hürriyet.
Now I will tell you, it is basically tribes, and we know that back in those centuries tribes used to fight bitterly, but in this season there are fights, but they are not so intense. So if you have a weak heart and you cannot watch bloodshed or war or violence, this one is for you because this won't push you to your limits. This is a mild one, but it has a very strong grip on its story. The story is strong, the characters are strong, they are concentrated, and they teach you a lot of good things. So this season is not very new, it is an old season, but it recently got popular, and obviously the actors are enjoying the fame. I watched one of the interviews of the actors, and that they mentioned that they never thought that Ertugrul would become a global hit. They were just producing it for their local company, the TBT, though that TRT, that is a Turkish official channel, and they just produce shows there. But it got globally hit. Then it came to Netflix, and people loved watching it with all the subtitles and all the translations, audio translations. It is a very good season. It has no glamour at all. So it's a family show. You can watch it with family, you can watch it with children, and it has no violence and it can be seen by anybody or everybody. And then there come the romance part. Now there are many seasons, no matter what genre they're in, they have intense love scenes. But this season, as I have said, is a family season. It does not have any particular love scenes or any things that are vulgar, that can be considered vulgar. No, this season is purely based on story and it's strong dialogues. So this is basically production of Turkish channel, and they are making it go global because it deserve it. The Turkish have a great mind for dialogues, for stories, and they have proved it. They have depicted that time, that era so perfectly that I have no idea where did they shoot this whole season. Like it was so perfect, the everything, the environment, the jungles, the forests, the mountains, the rivers, everything's in order. Everything looks like it is some very centuries ago. But this season has something else to offer you. This season talks about positivity. The season is very positive. It talks about trust, trust on your own clan, trust on your own self, trust on your own family. It talks about positive decisions and the karma. It talks about the good karma. If you will do good, you will have good. And if you will do bad, eventually at the end you will be caught, and that would be not good for you because you have done bad, you will be given bad in return. Now, this season has a lot more to offer in terms of prayers. Every time they meet and greet, they give a prayer, and that is the most beautiful thing. Just imagine somebody saying, "May God bless you," instead of saying hi. And then you say, "May God protect you," and that instead of bye. How cool is that? So Ertugrul is all about teaching us good manners, good things, good stuff, and also it tells us how bravery can lead you to places, to wonderful places, and how great it is to be a brave man, to stand up for yourself, to stand up for your clan, to stand up for your family. Ertugrul has it all. It teaches us more than we can ever expect. Now, when I have talked about the overall review of Ertugrul and why you should watch it, let's jump into the characters and the plot twist. Just as other long seasons, this season has also so many characters, so many main characters and side characters, and the mid roles and the villains. With every season comes a very new bunch of characters that obviously I cannot explain right here because there are so many of them, but there are some very basic characters. That is Ertugrul himself. Now, Ertugrul is a leader of his tribe, and he is a warrior, he is brave, and he takes care of everything, but he has his own way of doing stuff. He has his own pace of dealing with things, he has his own way of dealing with everything that goes in and out. And then there is his wife Halima, who is very supportive of Ertugrul, and Ertugrul also loves her very much. And then the other side characters are the three main tribesmen who Ertugrul supports the most and trusts the most. These three are always with him and they are always up for Ertugrul, and they are ready to give their lives for Ertugrul. This is the type of partnership they have. This is the type of love that the tribe shares among themselves. And then there is the mother of Ertugrul, who is a very strong and courageous lady, and she makes decisions of the tribes when Ertugrul is not around. So basically this also talks about woman empowerment, how women are empowered by men to take the charge, and women are empowered to talk and speak their mind and do whatever they like. So this is obviously of back centuries. This is of 70s or something. So in that particular season we have a whole set of new things, of war strategies that the tribes used, of the alliances they made, of the spies, of the spy system they had, and how they managed the spy system, and how they used to get the information of the opposite party. So this is a season that has everything. And this season is particularly special because it has strong dialogues. Now the story revolves around Ertugrul and his decision for his tribes, and then the invaders, that the ones that want their land, the ones who want their money and crops and their rug making business. So it is all about it, and they fight for religion. They fight for their land, they fight for their family, but their fighting is very strategic because in that era they did not have guns or bombs or tanks. They just had arrows and swords, and the sword was the only thing they used for protection instead of a gun, just like we do. But they did not have that, so there is less violence, but there is more fighting, there is more adrenaline rush, there is more thrill, and there is much more exciting stuff to watch when you're watching Ertugrul. Apart from all these thrilling stuff that goes within the story also talks about how the Ottoman Empire came into power. Now we all know the Ottomans, we all know how they rose and for how long they were there, and how big of an impact they have over all the world map. Now this was before the Ottomans, and the Ertugrul was the father of the person who made the Ottoman Empire. So this is how it goes. Ertugrul laid the foundation of Ottoman Empire, but obviously he could not set up the Ottoman Empire. It was set up by the successors, and he was a great person who taught the successors a lot great deal, and this is how the story revolves. And there's so much. Every new episode has something new. It is interconnected with the previous one, but everything is connected. There's new and new and new and new in every episode. There's no single episode that goes with something old, that goes with something odd. Everything is very well synchronized. The story goes according to the plan. The actors are doing a great job, and everything is perfect. And also, I would like to mention Ibn al-Razi. Ibn al-Razi was an old man who was a very religious person. He used to wander through the forest, teaching his students about life and about religion and everything. And he was such a pure soul. He was there for Ertugrul whenever Ertugrul was in distress. Out of nowhere, Ertugrul did not have any communication way with him, but he was always there when Ertugrul was feeling lost, and he would come to Ertugrul. He would tell him the words of God, and he would tell how amazing he's doing and how well he can do it if he just trusts himself. Ibn al-Arzi was a person who was a true friend of Ertugrul. Not a friend that you chat with every day, not a friend that you live with every day, but a spiritual friend. With one you have a spiritual connectivity. So the story of Ertugrul, the plot of Ertugrul is very difficult to explain. What you have to do is go and watch the trailer of Ertugrul on YouTube or on Netflix. It's your choice, but it is worth watching. Just give it a try. Just start, watch 7 to 8 episodes so that you understand the story build up, and then you can decide whether you should watch it or not. So these were the picks of mine, top rated Netflix series that I really love, and I really encourage you to look at these series, look at just their trailers, and then decide if you want to watch it or not. But I recommend them 100 by 100. I really hope that you liked my this particular video because I talked my heart out in this video. I hope it will help you decide which season to watch next. Till then, Bye bye.